At 4:30 p.m., be at the agreed location. At 6:30 p.m., swallow the capsules. After effect, protect metals, wait for the mask signal. These exact words were found written on a crumpled, rain-soaked piece of paper in August 1966, sitting right beside two dead bodies on a desolate, overgrown hill in Niterói, Brazil. The victims were two respected electronics technicians, dressed in high-end formal business suits, covered by heavy plastic raincoats, and wearing crude, handmade lead-eye masks over their faces. There were no signs of physical violence, no indications of a struggle, no stolen money, and zero traces of external trauma. After nearly 6 decades of intense scientific testing, medical autopsies, and federal investigation, the case remains officially unsolved. What were these two rational men waiting for on that rainy hill, and what mysterious force took their lives before the signal ever arrived? The eerie discovery began on a quiet afternoon when an 18-year-old local boy was flying a kite near Vintem Hill, a steep, thickly forested ridge overlooking the city of Niterói. When a strong gust of wind caused his kite line to snap, sending it crashing deep into the dense, untamed brush, the boy crawled through the tall grass to retrieve it. Instead of his kite, he stumbled upon a horrifying scene that would haunt the entire nation: two fully clothed men lying flat on their backs, side by side, completely unmoving. Panicked, the boy scrambled down the steep incline and immediately alerted local law enforcement. By the following morning, a team of police officers, investigators, and firefighters trekked up the treacherous terrain to secure the area. What they encountered left even the most veteran detectives completely baffled, as the scene defied every standard pattern of a typical crime. The two deceased men were dressed in formal dark business suits and ties, strangely topped with heavy, transparent plastic raincoats despite weather records showing that the days leading up to their discovery had been warm, humid, and largely dry. Most shockingly, resting directly over their eyes were two custom-built lead masks, roughly hand-cut from heavy metal sheeting and punched with small holes to tie behind their heads with string. The physical scene offered no immediate explanation for their deaths. There were no bullet wounds, no stab marks, no signs of strangulation, and no obvious environmental hazards. In fact, the physical condition of the crime scene suggested that both men had simply laid down in the grass together, placed the heavy lead plates over their eyes, and waited silently for something to happen until their hearts stopped beating. As investigators catalogued the items surrounding the bodies, every single piece of evidence only added more layers to the mystery rather than solving it. Lying neatly near the men was an empty, unused bottle of water, a small plastic packet containing 2 soaked towels, and a surprisingly large amount of Brazilian cash, which immediately ruled out robbery as a potential motive. Most critical of all was a small, wire-bound notebook tucked inside one of their pockets containing a set of strict, timed instructions written in Portuguese. The note read, 16:30 be at the agreed location. 18:30 swallow capsules. After effect, protect metals, wait for mask signal. The systematic nature of the note proved that their presence on the hill was not an accident or a spontaneous outing, but a calculated, minute-by-minute ritual that had been planned well in advance. Police quickly identified the victims as 32-year-old Manuel Pereira de Cruz and 36-year-old Miguel José Viana, two close friends and skilled electronics technicians from Campos dos Goitacazes, a commercial city over 150 miles away. To their families, friends, and business clients, Manuel and Miguel were ground-level, practical men, hard-working professionals who spent their working hours repairing complex television sets, radios, and industrial electrical equipment. They were not known to have criminal connections, serious debts, or dangerous enemies, leaving everyone in their home community shocked by their sudden disappearance and bizarre deaths. The central question for investigators was why two level-headed, technically minded technicians would abruptly abandon their daily work, travel hours away to a distant city, and follow cryptic instructions onto an isolated hilltop. By cross-referencing bus tickets, shop receipts, and witness statements, police managed to reconstruct the exact timeline of the men's final hours on August 17, 3 days before their bodies were found. The two friends left their hometown early in the morning, telling their families they were traveling to Niterói to buy electronic components and look at a prospective automobile to purchase. They arrived by long-distance bus at 2 p.m., visited a local clothing shop shortly after to buy 2 heavy plastic raincoats, and then stopped at a nearby bar to buy a single bottle of mineral water. The bar cashier later told detectives that Miguel appeared intensely anxious, repeatedly checking his watch as if running on a strict deadline. At 4:30 p.m., right on the mark listed in their notebook, a local resident spotted both men walking up the steep trail of Vintem Hill into the gathering rain. It was the last time anyone saw them alive. When the bodies were transported to the coroner's office, investigators expected the toxicology reports to swiftly reveal what kind of lethal poison had been hidden inside the capsules mentioned in the note. However, due to severe organ decomposition caused by 3 days of heat, rain, and delay before discovery, the medical examiner was unable to run complete chemical analyses on their internal organs. The official autopsy returned entirely inconclusive. No known toxic substances could be identified, no physical trauma was found, and no medical cause of death like a sudden heart attack could be confirmed for either man. The investigation took an even weirder turn when experts questioned the purpose of the lead-eye masks, which are manufactured almost exclusively to shield human tissue from intense radiation. Detectives rushed to Vintem Hill with Geiger counters, expecting to find nuclear contamination or radioactive fallout, but tests confirmed the soil and vegetation were entirely normal. In the years following the tragedy, 3 major theories emerged to explain the baffling event, the most prominent being their involvement in an esoteric spiritualist movement. During the 1960s, a trend swept parts of Brazil where small, secretive groups attempted to combine radio frequency engineering with spiritualism, believing modern technology could bridge the gap between humans and extraterrestrial life or spirit dimensions. Investigation into the technicians' private lives revealed that Manuel and Miguel belonged to an informal alternative group that experimented with high-voltage electronics and alter-state mental exercises. Theorists suggest the men were led to believe that swallowing powerful hallucinogenic capsules while wearing radiation-blocking lead masks would allow them to safely receive a visual or electronic signal from non-human beings without blinding or killing them. A second compelling theory suggests that Manuel and Miguel fell victim to a highly sophisticated scam or a targeted murder orchestrated by a third party. Proponents of this idea argue that an opportunistic cult leader, pseudoscientist, or criminal insider convinced the technicians that an extraordinary cosmic or technological breakthrough would occur on Vintem Hill, instructing them to bring money and follow rigid protocols. Under the guise of a spiritual or scientific initiation, this mysterious third party may have provided them with lethal poison disguised as transcendental capsules to eliminate them after receiving payment. However, because a significant amount of cash was left untouched in the victims' pockets at the scene, detectives struggled to establish a clear financial motive, leaving the murder theory incomplete and full of logical holes. The third theory focuses strictly on their background as practical electronics experts, proposing that the 2 men were attempting an unsanctioned, dangerous atmospheric or electromagnetic experiment. Given their technical skills, Manuel and Miguel may have been attempting to harness high-frequency radio waves or atmospheric electricity generated during the incoming thunderstorm, using custom-built gear to capture energy or test illegal communication signals. Under this scenario, the lead masks were intended as crude physical protection against intense electrical arcs or high-frequency light emissions, while the capsules might have been a performance-enhancing drug or synthetic compound meant to heighten their physical endurance. If their experimental apparatus suffered a catastrophic high-voltage failure or created an unforeseen toxic chemical reaction in the humid rain, both men could have suffered simultaneous, fatal cardiac arrest without leaving obvious marks on their bodies. Today, more than half a century later, the lead masks case remains one of the most enigmatic cold cases in global forensic history. Vintem Hill has long since overgrown the path those 2 technicians walked, and the crude lead masks themselves sit frozen in time inside a police evidence archive, offering no new answers to modern investigators. Manuel Pereira de Cruz and Miguel José Viana climbed that hill fully convinced they were stepping toward a groundbreaking event, bringing raincoats for the weather, money for their travel, heavy masks to protect their vision, and a precise timetable for a phenomenon they believed was real. Whether they were doomed by a tragic psychological delusion, a cold-blooded crime, or a terrifying encounter beyond ordinary human understanding, they swallowed their capsules, put on their masks, and carried the truth of what they were waiting for to the grave.